Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today I have the good fortune to be joined by Peter Holtz from Peter Holtz CPA. Peter, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
It's our pleasure to have you. Let's go back in time a little bit. How did you get into the business in the first place?
Got into business about 22 years ago, started a CPA practice after spending some time at Deloitte and a couple other firms, and actually was in industry for a while as CFO and CEO of businesses. And I realized that a lot of business owners didn't really have the help that they needed. The CPA business was not really geared towards integrating services to make sure that the books were right, to make sure that tax planning was right, and to make sure that the tax plan actually followed the tax preparation of the tax return.
You talk a lot about helping owners take back control of their business.
Absolutely.
What are some of the warning signs that we've lost control of the numbers?
Yeah, it's like the typical thing that happens with a lot of people in the CPA business is they go to their CPA once a year, right? And like they're at the end of the year and they're looking at the numbers and go, okay, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's December 31st. Do I need to buy another pickup truck? You know what I mean? Or do I need to do something to try to avoid some tax situations, whatever, and not having an ongoing plan. The key is not having a plan on the tax side. And then not knowing your numbers. I mean, you got to get together with your accountant, your CPA every month to understand what's going on with your numbers, to make sure you can adjust your margins accordingly and make sure that you're booking the profits that you want to make.
What is one tax mistake you see business owners making repeatedly other than not having a proactive plan?
Really, number one, I would say the number one is accuracy. They don't write off everything they should. Okay. They spend stuff out of their personal account when it should be coming to business. Number two is structuring themselves. So they think they're a sole proprietorship when they should be an S Corp. They should be a C Corp when they should be, or they think they're an S Corp and they should be a C Corp, or they should be an LLC. That structure and not structuring it right is also a big problem.
You wrote an article called Where It All Began, kind of about your personal story. Can you share a little bit of that with us?
Yeah, I sure can. Really, I think my dedication to this particular market is, and to the small and medium business owner, really relates to my dad. He always wanted to be in business. He was, to me, very much of a hero. He served his country World War II. And because he went off and did his duty in Patton's Third Army in World War II, he met my mom there. And I really exist because of his duty and doing his duty. So, and it really struck me as the kind of guy that, like the old traditional John Wayne hero from the West, they come in, they ride in, they do their job, they ride off to the sunset. There's no fanfare, right? And for every single person that runs a business every single day, there's no fanfare, right? They're just there to make things happen. They're there to try to take care of their customers, to try to make a market happen and do good work. And doing that every day, day in and day out is hero's work, really, when you really think about it.
Amen. Well, we're biased here, of course.
Yeah.
What have you learned from your decades of working with business owners that accounting school would never have taught you?
I think the most interesting thing that accounting school didn't teach me is what business owners, the types of businesses that business owners can create, the unlimited creativity in terms of taking a market and twisting it this way or that way, whatever, from people that only want to fix. I'll give you a good example. Somebody that it's a car repair business. The only thing they fixed are the head gaskets of Priuses, but they have an incredible business because these head gaskets break at about 100,000 miles, and if you fix them, the Prius is going to go another 100,000 miles. So somewhere somebody came along the lines of how to quickly fix these head gaskets, and they have like a multi-million-dollar business, and turning it into, with social media and everything, Mr. Gasket, right? And that's what they do. And it's just literally phenomenal how people can do that every single time. From restaurants, creativity, right? You have all sorts of fusion foods and everything else like that. But it almost works in every. I'll give you another good example of a guy that runs a gas station and also makes olive oil from his property, and he's selling it in the gas. Doesn't sound like it makes sense, does it? But he really loves olive oil, and he loves olive trees, and he like created this passion that actually is a fantastic tax write-off because he lives on his olive ranch, right? And he's writing off the cost of all these trees that he have, and at the same time he's making his olive oil. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
I've never seen a gas station on an olive ranch.
Yeah.
So that is a fascinating story. Can you talk about, and obviously if your client identities are confidential, just ABC Incorporated, can you
Yeah.
share a time when better financial systems changed the direction of a business?
Yeah, lots, right? I had a client one time who was in the used car business, second chance finance, very rough and tumble business in one of the worst parts of town. And we sat back and he looked and the great news in that business, you become a master negotiator, right? You have to figure out how to negotiate everything. And we realized when we really sat back and looked at his business and looked at his opportunities were really in real estate, right? Because he had these used car lots that other people wanted. He was going to sell them, and he started kind of like flipping these used car lots into other real estate developments that other people wanted. Um, and then he became a real estate developer. But when you think about it, it's actually like his skill set as a negotiator really was beautiful. It's just different numbers. And then he became like a county-wide political influencer and got to know everybody, all the county supervisors and everything else, helped a lot of them get elected. So if you wanted to get something done in this particular county that he's in, and especially in the real estate world, you would want to go through him because he could make big deals happen. And then he became to bigger and bigger deals, and he became part of these bigger deals because other people wanted his knowledge and experience in terms of not only negotiating but also how to make the deal happen, how to deal with the county, how to deal with the state, and everything else like that. So yeah,
That's
it's like,
fascinating.
yeah, really, when you think about it, he was like working his butt off, 7 days a week, and a lot of times trying to make $2,000 a used car, right? And like now he can do a deal and make millions in one deal.
That's amazing. Your firm promotes innovative tax reduction.
Yep.
What does innovation look like in a field where most people assume that, it's rigid and rule bound and there's 50,000 plus pages of IRS tax code?
Well, there's 50,000 plus pages of IRS tax code. And there's a lot of loopholes in there that people don't know about. And a lot of, and really the worst thing that exists in my profession is what I call the box fillers. People take your numbers, put them in the boxes and tax returns, and tell you how much to pay and what to pay. Okay. How much to pay and when to pay. Okay. So these people are like, okay, pay this on April 15th, you're done, whatever. And a lot of times they'll say things like, well, you should be happy you're paying tax because it means you made money. Well, it doesn't always mean you make money. It just means you're paying tax. And the thing is, you've got to know the rules. You've got to understand the loopholes, use every single loophole. You've got to make sure you use every single accuracy you possibly can. And you do the structuring right in order to make it happen. And it's like a series of almost like a puzzle that you put together based on each and every person's individual business, not only their business, it could be their family. Maybe their kids are in the business. Maybe their kids are going to be maybe not in the business. Maybe they're I mean, it's so many different things. I really love it because it's absolutely fascinating to help people understand how to put together their business in such a way to benefit their family for the long term.
What is one number business owners ignore that kind of tells you a lot about the health of their company?
Margin, margin. They need to know, understand exactly what they're making on what they're selling, and that's the number one thing they have to understand. And then, and it can be tricky. It can be tricky, like especially construction business and so forth. How much are you really making on each one? And then you got to understand your margin and then your overhead. If you know how much you're making on every $10 that you produce, right, and sell, right, then you know how much your overhead is, then you can easily figure out what your profit's going to be, right? And how big you need to grow in order to make it happen. And so many people go out in business. This is a very interesting thing. They get started in business and they work their butts off to go get margin to pay their bills. Then they get to the point where they level off and they don't make grow any bigger because they're sometimes afraid, right? Then their kid goes to college and they need to make another 30 grand a year and they find it. You know what I mean? And not pushing themselves to make more and more each year, not pushing themselves to make sure their family's taken care of, retirement, making sure that their medical insurance is taken care of, and making sure that everything else is in place to really help them by getting the right margin to produce a good lifestyle for them is really, really important.
You've been doing this a long time. You've helped so many businesses. What's your biggest challenge now?
I think sometimes my biggest challenge now is trying to bring as much value to as many people as possible. And it is training. Like I have a team of platinum advisors that I worked with every week, make sure we train them, make sure they understand what we're going to be doing, setting out the right tone. So really more and more and more of my time has been geared towards developing the team. You know what I mean? And to deliver the value. And still sometimes, like when it gets into really complex strategy stuff, I have to get involved. But a lot of the basics we can take care of and save people a ton of money. Typically, we save people 40% on their taxes, right? By just doing things right. And just by understanding what you can, what loopholes you can take advantage of, what structure you can take advantage of, and getting them in the right frame of mind for the business.
Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
You know what I say? It's really helping people and helping business owners. Like I said, and it comes, like I said, from my dad, because it is seeing those heroes, those everyday heroes out there every day doing interesting things, never giving up. These people never give up, and it's such a beautiful thing. And I love it. And I think that's my favorite thing about it is just to help those people and give them a different way of thinking. Sometimes it's like, well, did you ever think about like the olive business, right? I love olives. So did you ever think of turning around into the business? We actually had that discussion. It's like, oh, no. But yeah, that's the greatest idea. And then he bought his olive press and did everything, and he's selling it everywhere. So whatever, you know what I mean? It's just a beautiful thing to actually help people go to the next level.
Absolutely. For our folks who are watching and listening and want to learn more, where is the best place for us to send them to go learn more about you?
Yeah, we have a special. Let me make sure. I got a special link for you. It is go.peterholtz.cpa. That's PETERHOLTZ CPA.com/shark. And it's a special exclusive tax strategy kit for people. They got a PDF. They also have we can also set up a special tax strategy meeting, easy for me to say, which we can give some people some ideas and advice on their business. So go.peterholtzcpa.com/shark, and we will get them a PDF and get them a quick meeting to like go over what we can do and how we can help them.
Awesome. We will send everybody to go.peterholtzcpa.com/shark. The link will be in the show notes. This has been Seth Greene for Sharkpreneur with Peter Holtz. Peter, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Seth. Great meeting you.
Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.